finally, you got to learn that there is power in your very presence. Would you tell your neighbor, I don't know if you knew this, but there's power in your presence. See, I'm not talking about power that's around you. I'm talking about power that's in you. Sisters and brothers, you got to reach the point that when you walk in a room, that you have the ability with your presence to change the atmosphere. You've got to love you so much that when you enter the room, you know that royalty just showed up. You got to know that you got so much power in your presence that if you're the only one in the room that doesn't have on $1,000 suit when you walked in the room, that's when richness showed up. Come on, somebody. That there's something about you that makes the world better just because you're in it. You ought to touch somebody and tell them you ought to be glad you're sitting next to me right now. You've got to know that you bring something to the table. You've got to know that by you being here, and because God don't make no mistakes, that you're not here by accident, that something great is here just because you're here. You've got to know that you can't be a mistake. If God allowed the happening of your birth, there had to be something that he birthed you for. And you have to be at peace with who you are. And until you're at peace with who you are, you will never be able to truly connect with anybody else because you can't connect with God. But when you connect with God and you love who you are, then you can love somebody else. Oh my God, we've got to choose to love ourselves and discover that there's power in my presence. You see, sisters and brothers, in this world, things are to be used and people are to be loved. But the problem in today's world is that people are used and things are loved. But notice in verse 33, he said that the gift of you and the gift of your love is greater than all the burnt offerings and sacrifices. The greatest gift that God has ever given is not what's in your hand, but what's in your heart. The greatest offering is not your physical assets, but it's your attitude. The greatest gift you offer to God is not what you drive, but what drives you. The greatest treasure you possess is not what you have, but on what resides within. And so as I close this message here today,